Hey, what's up everybody? And as you can see up there, this is going to surprise you, but I'm going to read off two, I guess you could say, journal entries, rants if you will, positive rants in journal entries from one person known as TheEzekiel300. And he basically has a DeviantArt account, and who doesn't? But this is what he said in two of them. Now, he does provide some photographic evidence, and I will provide the links down below so you guys can see exactly what he's talking about. So, here's what TheEzekiel300 has to say towards those that are, as he calls it, SatAM purist fans, and Sonic fans in general, if you will. This is what TheEzekiel300 has to say. Now let me remind you, Ezekiel300 is a supporter of Ian Flynn, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. But here's what he has to say, and I quote Ezekiel300. And I quote Ezekiel300. You SatAM purists need to realize that Ian has spotlighted the SatAM cast for 2 years straight. It is the game character's turn. The truth is that Ian and the Archie staff has been spoiling the SatAM fans. So to say that Ian is trying to get rid of the SatAM cast is completely false. Ian is trying to give spotlight to everyone, Gamecast and SatAM cast alike. Rotor, Uncle Chuck, and Nicole are still doing the thing even now. He's got a point there. That's exactly what I meant in a video, and I think even in a text I typed up at one of the forums, where I said it seems that every time we get into a very important anniversary issue or get near it, the Gamecast gets their turn, or more so than the original SatAM comic book cast, which is only fair if you think about it. One, now he counts down several reasons. He counts down several reasons, and here they are. Again, quoting Ezekiel300. One, in the first picture, because like I said, he has some photographic evidence. And again, I'll provide the link down below. In the first picture, Sonic and Sally went on an adventure together. Okay, I think that's the Wolfpack one, I believe. I'm not sure. Again, I'll provide the links down below. Two, for all you folks who keep complaining about Rotor not getting enough spotlight, well, Ian answered fan demand and brought Rotor back in action in 215, and Rotor is still in action. Okay. 3. Sonic's solo mission with Bunny was my most favorite story out of Sonic's solo adventures with the SatAM cast, as between issues 213, the SatAM cast, between issues 213 through 218. It felt like Sonic SatAM 2.0 to me. Alright. Kind of point, that was pretty good. I thought that was a pretty good one as well. Well, and quite honestly, I always like it when they team Sonic up with Bunny. Because, that's like, not relationship-wise or anything, but more like friendship partner-wise. Those are the perfect. Besides Sonic being partnered with Sally, that's more like, that's the second best thing you can go with. 4. I'm still quoting him. 4. Sonic, Sally, and Nicole got even more spotlight in the comic. So I don't really get this anti-SatAM business that you guys keep accusing Ian of. He's got a point there. They did get some spotlight. They did. 5. They dedicated a whole issue to Sonic and Sally finally getting together, that being 222. And to those who say that Ian is only doing this because he hates Sally and wanted Mecha Sally, if Ian really didn't care about Sally, I'm sure he wouldn't waste all of those panel times slowly repairing their relationship. He just would have just slapped Sonic and Sally together and roboticized Sally out. Alright, hold on, let me read it. He just would have just slapped Sonic and Sally together and roboticized Sally. But no, he didn't. 6. After a whole year of Ian spotlighting Sonic traveling with the Freedom Fighters in the 7th picture, again I'll provide a link down below for you guys to see what I'm talking about and what he's talking about. It shows Ian's introducing the SatAM cast to the new readers who started reading in 226, and the thing is, Ian didn't have to do that. Ian could have just put pure game elements in that comic, but he didn't. That I will agree with. I will agree with. You know, there are, let's face it, there are some fans that are new, that don't understand why longtime fans like myself and others out there like the SatAM cast, and why they're so important. There you go. Number 7. In issue 7, I think you mean issue 229, my friend. You put picture 7, I think, I don't know. In issue 229, Sally believed that Sonic was going to make everything okay. Why can't you, SatAM purist, believe the main hero will come through and save everyone in the end? Why? Issue 230 redeemed Sally. Ken Penders, Carl Bollers, and Mike Gallagher ruined Sally's reputation by portraying her as extremely selfish. The hate for Sally went down thanks to Ian. Sally is liked more now. The high Sal moment proves Sonic is destined to save Sally. Alright, first of all, okay, now this is kind of like split down. You know, Ken Penders, when he first started, let's face it, was good. Was a good writer. Ken Penders did the best job he did, and let's not forget he gave us Endgame, a very classic story which was very epic and only took 4 issues to do. Now I admit he did do some controversial work, some unexplained work and all that as the issues went on. 134 were called Bowlers, obviously in charge of that one, didn't help much. And Mike Gallagher, I don't know really where he fits in, but you know, yeah, I will agree it was kind of an up and down time. But hey, even you said, Ezekiel, and you're going to get into this in a second, Ian is not perfect. Actually, you told me this on YouTube in a comment. You actually commented my video about a writer's job is to keep you guessing. You say he's not perfect. He's an awesome writer, but he's not perfect. So you got to admit, Ian has made his mistakes too. He's made his mistakes too, and in the eyes of some, he's making a big one right now. But I'm not saying he is. I've said, Ezekiel, that I just don't like what he did with Sally. You know, I'm not used to, I mean, I'd be okay if it was maybe 4 to 6 issues. I'd be okay with that, and I'm sure anybody would agree. But when you're dragging it out, it does kind of become a little redundant, and patience does seem to wear thin, and I think that's where people are kind of getting on Ian about, hey, finish this up, be done with it, let's go, kind of deal. But I understand where you're coming from. I really do. I do understand that. Now, continuing on, I quote his first, this is the first thing he said, first entry he put. And concluding his first entry on DA, he says, "You SatAM purists are just indirectly hurting Sally's character more, Sally's character more because of all this complaining you're doing. The Mecha Sally thing is no darker than Shadow watching Maria being shot and Sonic being killed by Mephiles. When you complain about the Sally thing, it makes you look like a bunch of wusses compared to the game fans." Okay, now I will admit, when you do look at the games, Ezekiel, you do have a point. When fans look at the games, and especially if they look at the Sonic X adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2, you are right. Maria, a young girl getting shot and killed in the games, and in the Japanese adaptation, the Japanese Sonic X adaptation of Adventure 2, then yeah, I kind of agree, that is dark. And I do agree that when you look at what many people have said is the controversial Sonic 2006 with Mephiles killing Sonic, then yeah, I get that too. I understand that. Basically, I get what you're saying by you pointing out that Sally being roboticized and mechanized isn't as dark. You know, isn't as dark. Well, let me see if I can read this again. Basically, what you're saying is the Mecha Sally Sally being roboticized and then weaponized is no darker than what I mentioned. And Maria being shot in Adventure 2 and in the uncut Japanese adaptation of the uncut Japanese Sonic X adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2, or Maleficus, whatever his name is, Melfius, if you will, killing Sonic, Mephiles, whatever you want to call him, killing Sonic in the controversial Sonic 2006. I get that. I understand that you're saying it's no darker than that. But you got to understand from a fan's standpoint, the way they look at it, like say Jonathan 83X, aka Laser X5, they look at it like, true. They look at it like this. Yeah, you have a point. It may be just as dark arc as those two examples you give all the time. But if but the way they look at it is like this. But the way Laser and some other people look at it is like this. If Ian Flynn didn't have no restraints on him, he probably would have added a flashback scene or something, or some kind of panel scene with Sally being welded on and worked on and becoming weaponized. That's what they're saying. That's what they say when they always talk about, oh, well, who are you to say this when obviously Ian had Robotnik or Eggman gut and basically tear her apart and do this and that. Again, you got to understand from their standpoint that they get what you're saying, but they want you to understand what they're saying as well. They're basically saying that Robotnik doing what he did to Sally by weaponizing her, basically off-panel, probably taking her apart or basically welding on stuff or whatever, is more darker than what you mentioned. Because basically in their minds, even though we didn't see it on the panel, he basically either took her apart, rebuilt her, or basically opened parts of her up to put weapons and stuff into her so she'll be ready for battle. Just saying. So again, I understand where you're coming from, but again, you got to understand where they're coming from when they kind of say the things that they do. Now, the second entry the TheEzekiel300 had was recently, today I believe, and this is what he says. And again, I'll provide a link to both down below, but this is what he says. And I quote, "First of all, I am a SatAM fan, but that doesn't mean I am a purist. Let me tell you SatAM purist fans something. Sally's robotization is no darker than Maria being shot or Sonic being killed by Mephiles in the games. Or, in the Maria situation, the games and the Japanese uncut edition of Sonic X's adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2. Continuing on, and I quote, TheEzekiel300. In Sonic 230, Ian redeemed Sally. Sally's character was wrecked by Ken Penders, Carl Bowles, and Mike Gallagher. They showed her in a very selfish light and ruined her reputation. Ken Penders himself ruined the most important character of the comic, the main hero. Ken Penders himself ruined the most important character of the comic, the main hero, Sonic the Hedgehog, by making him a playboy. Ian spotlighted the SatAM fans, and for 2 years straight, from issues 213 through 229. It is the game's turn. Ken had Rouge make out with Knuckles' dad in the comic, and made Anti-Sonic rape, well, I'm not saying rape. Let's not go there. Let's not use the rape word on this one. I'll correct it. Made Anti-Sonic, aka Scourge, lie down with Bunny under the moonlight in issue 150. Or fall asleep with Bunny under the moonlight in issue 150. Not rape. Not rape. Let's correct that. And the outrage wasn't nearly as big as the Mecha Sally thing. Sonic is destined to save Sally after I saw the High Sal moment. It's time for you guys to quit being biased for the SatAM cast. Rhoda, Nicole, and Uncle Chuck are still doing the thing right now. I chose this image, and again I'll provide the link down below so you can see the image. I chose this image because it shows that Sonic and Sally were meant for each other even during the Monkey Kong theme. Seems Ian is doing the best he can. And again, I totally agree with some of the things you said there. First of all, but I want to correct you on a few things. Again, the rape situation, there was no rape. There was no indication. All it was Bunny waking up in the evening, in the early evening, as it got dark, and realized she fell asleep with who she thought at the time was Sonic, and didn't know it was Anti-Sonic, aka Scourge. Get the point? She fell asleep. You know, young kids, young teenagers, older teenagers, they do that. And that even happens in real life. They do that, and there's no rape involved. Let's kind of put that aside. As far as the Rouge making out with Knuckles' dad situation, she did that because she wanted to get close to the Chaos Emerald. If there was actually feelings between the two, is only one's guess, but I don't think so. Thirdly, Sonic being a playboy, you got to look at it this way. Sonic was going through a time, through Ken Pender's writing and even Carl Bowler's writing or whoever else, he was going through a situation to where he wanted to be free, but he also wanted to have someone he could, be with, someone he could talk to, someone he could hang out with besides just, Tails and Rhoda, someone that he can look at as maybe a companion for life, because all young teenagers, males and females, they go through this phase in life, and that to me is what was going on with Sonic. So the whole Playboy issue is not there. It's not real to me. It's basically he was going through a situation to where, like, okay, who do I want to settle down with? Who do I want to settle down with? Basically, like, who am I destined to be with? What female? Am I destined to be with Sally? Am I destined to be with Bunny? Am I destined to be with Mina? Amy? Yeah, I even said Amy. Or Rouge. Or whoever. Fiona. Am I destined for that? You see what I'm saying? And yeah, he did. I will admit this. He did kind of compliment Nicole when he first saw her Lynx look. The new current look. Her current Lynx look, if you will. He did compliment her. Every boy does that. Every young man does that. They look at a girl for the first time, and if they see, let's say a girl kind of gets a makeover for the school season, and the guy looks at her, takes a second glance, and is like, "Oh, it's you. Nice look. I like it." They're complimenting her. They're not hitting. They're complimenting. So there's a difference. But again, besides those, I do agree with you. I do agree with you that, I do agree with you that that Ian Flynn did help redeem the character in many ways, and also focused and spotlighted the SatAM cast. So I do agree with you on some things, but some things I want to correct you with, but some things I had to correct out of due respect, man. Out of due respect, I just wanted to correct you on some of those things as well. But that is TheEzekiel300's explanations, his little journal entries, rants, if you will. I will provide the links down below. Video response if you people like. Comment if you like. And I will talk to you all later.